Hi everyone, I'm Soju, and in this quick tutorial I'm going to be showing you how to make this cherry blossom tree with a enchanting table here at the bottom. It's a really simple idea, but I get why the cherry blossom might be a little bit more difficult. So yeah, without further ado, let's go on to the tutorial. And for the block palette, we're going to use a bunch of dark oak wood for the tree stem. And for the leaves, I'm obviously going to use cherry leaves. I'm also going to mix in some pink glazed terracotta and then some pink stained glass, including the panes. For the path, I'm going to use coarse dirt and podzol. And I'm also going to use some exposed copper, but make sure it's waxed. Then obviously you're going to need your enchantment table and bookshelves. I also did use a little bit of oak just to match the top of the bookshelf, and obviously these are decorations, but I used lanterns and I had little mushrooms laying around, and I used end rods. But since these are quite expensive, a better alternative would be the new pale garden wood. I don't remember, pale wood, I think. I would use the fences. I currently don't have that update yet, so I'm gonna be using end rods for now. Okay, so I'll first be starting off with the tree stem. I'm gonna go about 8 blocks tall with the stem. So I'm gonna place 1 and then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And just as a tip, there's no real way of making a tree like perfectly. They're supposed to be natural. Each tree that I make is gonna be different. So right now we have an 8 block pillar. I want my tree to like overhang. So I'm gonna go around 3 blocks this way and maybe go 1 up like this. Since the tree sprouts basically everywhere, I'm gonna go on all 4 sides and extend it a little bit. Actually, I'm gonna do this first. Just make a cross like this and then extend using the slabs however you like. I'm literally going like really randomly. I'm not really thinking about the shape. This is what I did. But since trees are supposed to be natural, I just really just spread it everywhere until I get like a full shape. So maybe this one can go up a little like this. So right now it's spreading all the way over here and then a little bit over here. I'm also gonna go up a little. So I'll be using the stairs and maybe go up like this. And I'll also use a little bit of stairs over this way. Maybe I'll place one right here in the corner and go up a little like this. Maybe it can go into a diagonal like that. There you go. So right now we have this. It looks really silly, but for trees it's a real trusted process. So now I'm gonna go in with my fences and maybe, can this one? Yeah, okay. I'm gonna place them on the edges of these slabs that I placed, and then I'm gonna go up and out like this. So maybe this one, I'll place it here, and then I'll go up and out, maybe like this. Then over here, I'm gonna go here, then up and out. We're basically mimicking the branches. There's no real exact way to do this. I pretty much just do it randomly until I find a shape that I like. So maybe here, and it can go up like this. Maybe over here and can go out, and maybe over here and it can go out like this. And I'm just making sure that each one of these branches has a fence. So I think I got all of them. And then on the ends, I'm just gonna add a fence gate sprouting out like this, basically in every direction, just so it goes everywhere. On the edges, maybe this one can go over here and that one can go also sideways, but like this. And this one can go like this. So right now I have a shape that looks like this. It doesn't have to be perfect. Trees are never perfect, so it's a really just trust the process type of thing. And I'm noticing right here that there's a really empty space, if you can see. So I'm gonna build up some fences here. Maybe I'll place a slab right there and then build up a fence like this. And I'll place some fence gates going out like that. And then that basically fills up that little space that we had. So right now we have this, and before I fill all of that in, I'm gonna go here at the bottom. Then I'm gonna place around 2 blocks over here. I'll place 3 on the side and then another 3 over here and maybe 1 over here. Since my tree is leaning towards the right, I want to almost like counteract that weight by placing more blocks on this side. So I'm gonna place 1 over here, maybe this like this, and maybe 1 over here. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect. And then I'm gonna top those off with some stairs going around. Maybe I can destroy this one and place a stair, maybe that like this, and maybe a slab on top of this one. And the ones that I'm gonna leave bare, I'm basically gonna replace that with the log that has all the 6 sides covered. And now we have a shape that looks like this. This is pretty decent, I think. And now I'm gonna make the roots. So for the roots, I basically just use slabs and trapdoors. I place them around the corners like this and sprout them out randomly like this. Maybe one can go over here and one over here. And then with the trapdoors, I also do the same thing. So I, sprout them out like this. Maybe one can go here and here. There we go, we have the base for the tree. Maybe this one can be a trapdoor instead, just because it's pretty thick. I'm basically going like from thicker to thinner, because I mean, I'm not a tree expert, but I think that's how trees work. And yeah, I'm happy with, maybe I'll destroy that one. But like, yeah, I'm pretty happy with this shape. And then right here, I'm gonna blend this out a little bit better. So I'm gonna place a stair on that corner and then a trapdoor on either side like this. Maybe I can replace this one with a stair like this. And I'll place a trapdoor on this corner right here. And I'll also place maybe a slab like that. So that looks a little bit better. For trees, it's kind of a little bit hard to explain. There's no real way of me like teaching you how to do it block for block. It's kind of just like placing blocks until you're happy with it. At first, trees always come out like a little bit ugly, and then I just play with it and take out blocks, place some more until I find something that I like. So don't be scared if this is like your first tree and it looks horrible. Mine too, don't worry. So right now I reached the point where I think I can fill it in. So what I'm gonna do is basically place a cherry leaf on every side that I come across. So all over here, all over here. It doesn't have to be neat. I'm just placing it wherever I already placed a fence or a slab or whatever. So right now I'm just going around and filling all of this in like this. There's some spots that I missed. So like in this spot, I'm just gonna fill that in, honestly. I don't really dwell on it too much. And then here we have another gap, so I'm just gonna place that there. And another one here, and then fill that in. So right now, it looks ugly, don't worry. It looks really weird, not gonna lie. But as you can see from the top, you can't really see any of the branches, and that's what we want. But from the bottom is looking questionable, so I'm gonna go in and do the same thing and just fill this all in like this. I want to leave some of these branches exposed because that's how real trees work. I don't want to cover all this up. It will look a little bit weird. So I'm just gonna leave mainly this big branch that we made and some of the little branches like this. But all of these areas like this, maybe, and especially the fences, I'm gonna cover them up. Okay, so the bottom of my tree looks something like this. As you can see, I left most of these exposed, but I closed off most of the branches like that have the fences and the fence gates. I left some just so it's a little bit more random, but most of them are covered. So right now it still looks a little bit questionable, but what I'm gonna do is just go ahead and make this a little bit more round. So right now it's really flat here at the top, and so I'm gonna just add randomly throughout some more blocks, and I'm just going around and adding more until I find like a really nice shape. So right now the top is looking pretty good, but like this looks weird. It just looks like a little arm jutting out. So what I'm gonna do is blend that a little bit more towards over here, just to fill this gap a little bit in, and it doesn't go, just so it doesn't look like it's jutting out so much. And same with this side. So from the top you can see that there's a spot here missing, and then I can add a little bit more over here. So I'm just gonna go ahead and fill that in like I said, and do this until my heart says to stop. That's where it said stop, and now it looks a little bit more rendered from the top. Then over here, I did want my tree to lean more towards the right, so this is fine. And I think from the top we are done, and from the side it's not looking too bad, but you can see from this side it looks a little bit weird. It's way too symmetrical. We want to get rid of that, but not literally. We're just gonna be adding a little bit more. So right here I'm gonna add a little bit more just to make it look a little bit fuller, so like this. And then I'm gonna add a little bit more over here. And there we go. It doesn't look so symmetrical anymore. It looks a little bit more natural. And then on this side, it looks okay, but this part looks like it's bald. So, oh, hi. So here, I'm gonna add a little bit more leaves and then blend that in a little bit better. And then I'm gonna add a little bit here because it looks like it's balding a little. And there we go, that looks a little bit more decent. Then same thing on this side. I don't like when the branches are exposed like this, but I'm pretty happy with the rest of the shape. So I'm gonna get rid of this one and just fill it in. And maybe I can add a little bit more, trying to make this a little bit better. So maybe like this. and like this. Yeah, that looks good. So right now, when I look at all the sides, I'm pretty happy with the shape. It's quite round, it's quite irregular, but right now it looks like our tree, it looks like a mushroom basically. Leaves have weight to them, so what I like to do is basically add more here at the bottom, almost like vines. So I'm basically adding leaves that are hanging out here at the bottom, like this, just all over. And that adds a little bit more weight to the tree without making it look like too fat, you know? And then there we go. Now it looks a little bit more decent. Maybe I could add a little bit more over here. And what I'm also looking for is that not every block should be on the same level. So right here, it's looking a little bit bare. Everything is on this Y level, and there's nothing here at the bottom. So I'm gonna add a little bit more jutting out, maybe like this. So I'm pretty happy with this. It looks like the tree has a little bit more weight to it, which is good. And the only thing that's bothering me is this one. So I'm gonna get rid of this fence right here. So this is the general shape that I came up with. It doesn't have to be the same. Every tree is different. But I hope the general idea of how to make a tree is there. And now for the easy part, I'm gonna go ahead and replace some of them. So I'm gonna use the pink lace terracotta, sorry, just randomly throughout. Okay, so I'm finished with that. I placed it pretty evenly throughout, as you can see, and I also placed some over here at the bottom, but it's quite sparse. I didn't want to like overdo it. And then finally, I'm gonna replace also, like we just did, with some of the glass. I'm mainly gonna focus it on the outer edges, and I just did that one, but I don't like how you can see right through the fence gate, so I'm gonna get rid of that one and replace it with a leaf. And maybe I can replace this one instead. And there we go. I think I added a little bit less just because it is glass, so it can look a little bit too transparent. So this is how it looks right now for me. And then finally, I'm gonna blend this out a little bit more, and I'm gonna use the glass panes. So like this and like this. In the places where I place one and it's only like this single hole like this, I like to place two just so we have at least like a longer pane like this. So like here, and I like to extend it, and that actually connects to the terracotta, and I like when that happens. So maybe I can place one like this, maybe one over here, like this. I feel like this makes it have like the illusion of like fuller leaves. So I like to do this all the way throughout. And there we go, that's my finished tree. I place it mainly on the edges, as you can see. There's a bunch over here, and then on the bottom I also place them in between. I can find one here. I place them in between some of the leaves like this. As you can see, it's a real trust the process. Right now it looks good. Well, I think it looks good, but at the beginning it looked like a monster, so don't be scared if yours looks like a monster too. So that's the tree, and now we can add the enchantment table. I'm gonna add it right here in the corner, and we need a minimum of 15. So I'm gonna place 15 right here. So right now I made this like corner like this, and I'm gonna build this up. Maybe like this. So right now I have this shape going on. It looks like this on all sides, but I'm gonna test it if it's 30. Okay, it's 30. So now that we know that it's 30 levels, I'm gonna basically bend this in a little bit more. So I'm gonna place a stair right here, maybe a couple slabs right here, and I'm gonna build this up here too. And I'm also gonna place a stair right here and a slab on this one. And then on the back, I think it looks a little bit silly. So I'm gonna add a few more bookshelves here at the back just to blend this out a little bit more. Like this, maybe like this. And then I'm also gonna do the same thing, and I'm gonna place maybe a stair here, a slab here, maybe one over here, a stair on this one, maybe a stair here, and then slab here. There we go. And I think I'm gonna get rid of that one and just place a regular slab. And I think that looks a little bit better. And then I left these spaces just so I can place his chest. I usually keep my lapis in there. And then I also like to have a grindstone in hand, so I like to place those there. So now that we have the enchanter, I like to go right on top of it, and I'm gonna place one right here. So one chain, maybe two, and then place a lantern right there. I'm also gonna place one here at the back, maybe one here, just one chain like this, and then maybe another lantern, but just like one. There we go. And that lights up the place a little bit better. To also give it a little bit more light, I like to go under the trapdoors and get rid of the block, place a torch or like glowstone or shroom light, whatever you have, and then close it up. Now you have like good hidden lighting. I always like to do these because trees can get really dark underneath. And this part is a little bit more optional, but I'm gonna make the path. So I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of all these blocks surrounding the enchantment table. Since I don't have anywhere to go, I'm just gonna make a random path like this. There we go. It doesn't have to be neat. I never make my paths look neat, so I'm just gonna make this like this. Maybe add one over here. And this one maybe. And I'm just gonna go ahead and place some coarse dirt randomly. And then same thing with the pot soul, go all the way around like this. And then with the wax copper, I'm gonna go like this. I like when there's more copper, so because it's kind of pink if you think about it. So I like to blend this out a little bit more like this. And there we go. It's pretty messy. I don't really have a technique. I just place blocks until it looks decent. And then only using the pot soul and the coarse dirt, I'm gonna go around the tree and do the same thing. So I'm gonna place those randomly and place some pot soul too. And there we go. It's covered all on all sides surrounding it. So now that's done, I'm gonna place some of my favorite flowers. I really like these purple ones, the alliums. I'm gonna place those just randomly throughout. And then I also like these. I'm gonna place these all over. And this is where I'm gonna add the mushrooms. I'm gonna place just a couple of them. So maybe one over here, and maybe one next to the enchanter over here. And then this is why I place a pot soul. I wanted to place some of the mushrooms and I can't place them like on normal dirt, so I'm gonna place them everywhere basically just to match the mushrooms, like these mushrooms that we made. And I'm just gonna add a cherry sapling in a pot, so like there, and there we go. And this is the finished products. Hopefully the tree making process wasn't a little bit too messy. But just in case, I'm also gonna leave the world download down in the description. You'll obviously get this build, but you're also gonna get all the builds in this world, so all of these too. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this tutorial, and I'll see you next video.